KVTV viewers, my heart almost skipped a beat. Oh my goodness.
They make it.
Oh my God. Did you see?
Okay, in terms of going back a little, in terms of the confidentiality, so the schools would know who the children are. Has there ever been an instance where that might have been breached, where a teacher might tell a parent or something and it might cause a negative effect?
I am really not aware. I have no doubt that things like that may have occurred, but I'm not aware of any specific instances in which that occurred. What I do know is that, and rightfully so, the children are very sensitive to their condition. They are aware that they are not accepted in the community as quote unquote normal children. So they develop certain protective mechanisms to make sure that they don't run into any untoward kind of problem meeting and dealing with children out there. I mean, when this condition first emerged, when this virus first emerged, people actually felt that if you came into contact with somebody who was affected, you would get it. They thought that the thing could be transmitted by pure human contact. It turned out, of course, not to be so. But that was the concept at the time, which is why people were literally ostracized if they had HIV and they were just put into places to die. But we've gone way beyond that now. I mean, medical sciences has determined that is no longer the situation. And society has come to accept HIV positive people who live in normal lives and live in just like you and I.
In terms of voluntary work, how does one relate to you that they're willing to be a volunteer? Since it's a matter of confidentiality and so forth, is there a screening process for persons who want to do voluntary work as well?
Well, we never refuse volunteers. We just make sure that we tell them that our main concern in dealing with people who have problems, and this doesn't only apply to HIV. It could be that the people find themselves in a situation of poverty, material poverty, whatnot. Our concern is always about the dignity of the individual. The dignity of the individual has to be respected. And nobody wants to come to you and say, I need you to give me some food because I don't have any milk to feed my children. Nobody wants to be able to say that, okay? So if they reach to the stage where they have to come to you, you know that they're doing something that they don't want to do, right? But they have no choice. This is their last resort. And the one thing you have to ensure is that their dignity is respected. So you give them what they need, but you don't make any judgments about it. You don't say, you're that way because you're not handling your money correctly or you're not living your life. We don't make any judgments. We just, you need, we will help you. But we will not expose your situation to anybody else. We will treat with you in a confidential manner so that you know when you tell us what your problem is, we are not going to broadcast this to anybody else. Because your dignity is paramount in the ministry that we do. Right? We will help you, but we will not compromise. We will not compromise your personal dignity or your situation by telling other people. Your business with us is totally on a confidential basis.
As you mentioned that, other than the Cyril Ross program, list a few other organizations or programs that you facilitate.
Well, we have homes for the aged. We have a facility where we provide 24-hour care to people who are ill. In other words, a geriatric home, which is staffed by people on a 24-hour basis, where people who cannot help themselves, they need medication, they can't cook for themselves, so we provide all that. It's like a mini hospital. We run that. We have night shelters, so that people who, for one reason or other, choose to live on the street can come in in the evening, have a bath, have a meal, change their clothing, and have a place to sleep, and then they go back out on the street. Because you might find it difficult to believe, but some people make a choice to live on the street. Right? I find it incomprehensible, but it's a reality that I have had to come to face.
I think we saw that as well when the government was trying to actually take them off of the streets
Correct.
some years ago, and
Correct.
they were just coming back out. So I guess
And
we realized that that's what they were accustomed to.
We also had a phenomenon, thank God it hasn't lasted, with young people, youths, who chose to live on the street.
Street children.
Street children. And people, people would tend to say that the families have thrown them out or whatnot, but it's something difficult to come to terms with. But some of them find it preferable to live on the street than to live in a domestic situation with which they're not comfortable. And you have to do what you can to help them. As simple as that. Comes back. No work charities for it.
I know that you had mentioned that Wendy Fitzwilliam, the past Miss Universe, I believe it was 1998, that she also has ties with the Cyril Ross home. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when she was sort of going up in the competition, one of the things that the competitors have to do is to visit various facilities throughout the country. And Cyril Ross has always been one on the list, because I suppose because of his children, it's that kind of tugs at people's heartstrings a little more than home for the AIDS and that type of thing. So she came there, and she developed a relationship with her children that just, I mean, it's almost like if they were her own. Okay, so when she became Miss Universe, and then she became an ambassador for the country, she continued to have an involvement with Sir Ross, and she continues to have an involvement up to today in terms of facilitating the work that we do, supporting the work that we do financially. Every year her foundation gives us money towards the Sir Ross home, for example, and whatever she can do to facilitate and improve the lives of the children there, she's continued to do. So she's developed a relationship with the society simply through visiting the home when she was going up as a contestant. And she's one of the people that remained faithful to the people with HIV and continues to do what she can to make their life possible. Her foundation, for example, pays for Dr. John's visits to Trinidad. They pay for the airfares and accommodation or whatever might be needed to facilitate his coming here to minister to the children. So she continues to partner with us, yes.
What's the name of her foundation?
Hibiscus.
The Hibiscus Foundation.
Yeah.
All right. Other persons who actually are part of funding and so forth, does the government understand the work that you do, and are they...
Well, if they don't understand, it's not for want of our telling them, because the AIDS program that we run, the children, is the only one of its kind in the entire region, entire Caribbean region. I'm not aware. It's something we have developed since we started, but when last I did any checks, this program is unique in the Caribbean area, which is why it was singled out by the United Nations for special sort of mention. And so while we were up on the UN website and so on, as the only project of its type in this part of the world. So, as far as I know, it's still the only one of its type. In most countries, I think the government itself, and here in Trinidad and Tobago too, the government has set up facilities for HIV positive people, but that's mainly for adults, so that there are clinics where you can go and get medication and whatnot, and treatment if you're HIV positive. But specific to children, I'm not aware of any other.
Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up now. Tell us a little about your experience as a worker of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. Tell us what's one of your major highlights.
That's a very difficult thing to really say, because you sit and you just don't know what you're going to face on any given day. All right, I would come in. I come to the office kind of like 5 days a week. I spend maybe half of the day here. When I come in, I know what I'm trying to do for the day, because there are certain things that I need to do. Many times I leave and I haven't done a single thing that I have on that list, because when I come in here, someone like you, I turn up and say, I want to talk to you about what is it.
I didn't just turn up.
No, I know you didn't just turn up. You didn't. Yeah. But the fact is, a lot of people turn up. A lot of people turn up here every day. Some of them, before you came in, for example, there was a guy who came in with someone else. He doesn't live in Trinidad. I think he's at Trinidad. I didn't get to talk to him for too long because he had a vehicle waiting to take him off. Mm-hmm. But he obviously knows about his society work. He came to bring food for us. And he had someone from Trinidad with him at the time, and he delivered the food, and we sat down and we chatted for 10-15 minutes, and he said to us, "You're going to get something from me all the time. I'm going to send it to you through this person." Mm-hmm. So they know the work that we're doing. There's no secret. And people just walking off the street, sometimes to help, sometimes for help. So I really don't know what tomorrow is going to be for me. That's the nature of the ministry that we do. One experience I had sitting here is that a guy walked in off the street. He handed me a pretty significant check in support of the work, and I got around to talking to him, and I found out he was a Muslim. And I'm saying, well, how is, why would a Muslim walk in here off the street and give me a check? And it's simply because I think that once you're helping people, religion is not a barrier. Once people recognize that you're doing something to help people in need, and that's the other thing about St. Vincent de Paul. When people walk in and ask for help, or when we visit people who want help, we never ask them, "What's your religion?" We ask them, "What do you need?" Right? So we don't make any distinction between who we help, right? And even just going back to Cyril, we've never tried to make the children we are a Catholic organization and the home is a Catholic home, but we've never said these children have to be Catholics, because this is not what it's all about.
So serious issues were discussed today, but we want to leave you again with the message that no form of charity is foreign to the society of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. We leave you with that closing note and just let it resonate in your minds. KVTV, GiGi.